Could you tell me a little bit about your experience and interest in technology?
My experience and interest in technology. I've always been interested in technology. Every toy I've ever gotten, I've torn it apart and put it back together in a different way. And my experience is, since 1986, I was working for the Tandy Corporation Radio Shack and selling computers for them and Gaffney locations in Greenville, South Carolina. And that's basically where I got most of my basic training, from the Tandy Corporation. And then I've always had family members that have, before it was ever formal education on it, even in my college days, the only thing we had um, classes on our programs were like Lotus 1, 2, 3 and Lotus Notes, and Microsoft didn't have a whole lot of influence at the time, but over time, Microsoft became the most dominant operating system, and that's where all the technology went. So just over the years, I've just kept up with the changes, and it still changes.
How would you describe yourself in terms of technology use?
In terms of technology use, I am lost every day. I find out how much I don't know every day, and you know, as I read constantly and I watch videos constantly of new technologies and new methods and new operating systems. It's like last night I had an update on my Nexus 7 from an operating system that's called Jelly Bean, which I really loved. It was the best thing that I'd ever seen come along. And then last night it updated to KitKat. So now I've got to relearn everything on my little, Nexus 7 all over again. But it's kind of the basic thing. But there were some major changes and hopefully improvements, and not, stepping back. But you just have to keep learning.
And how were you trained in the use of technology?
How were I trained in use of technology? Um, I have several certifications, or I've had several certifications over the past years, and since I've been with the Cherokee County School District, our first director had been certified in everything, and basically we learned under him, and he basically tutored us and got us right up to the point of certifications. But we have part certifications, which means it's basically an A+ certification, to where if I need a part for a computer that's under warranty, I don't have to go through a troubleshooting call and convince them that I understand what the issues are. I just tell them to send me the part, and they send it straight on. It's the most advantageous training and that I've had in technology, because technology and training is a constant. Like I said, every day something's changing. So what applied previously no longer applies, or it's real similar, but you still have to learn another trick to make it possible. So
And how long did it take you to learn this position?
33 years. 33 years.
Okay.
Including lunch. I actually went to lunch and was having to watch videos on something I was working on this morning. So
Oh.
up until about 11:30 this morning.
Oh. If you were to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being beginner and 10 being expert, how would you rate your familiarity with AlphaSmart?
AlphaSmart's 5. So, as I explained, being a technician, I didn't really have a lot of application time with them, as far as
Okay.
their capacity for storage, and their transitions, and how everything went save it, external save. Mostly my experience with them is replacing batteries, replacing keyboards, replacing parts, and so.
Gotcha. And do you know the history of the AlphaSmart and how it's changed?
Vaguely, I know there's like a newer version that had different type displays, a multi-display or a liquid crystal display instead of just the one line LED display. So I'm not real familiar with the later models of it.
Okay. And have you ever used an AlphaSmart?
Yes.
And what did you like most about it?
It was convenient. Like I said, you had a keyboard and display and everything in one place, and didn't have to rely on one print out something to see something, or a monitor hooked up to it. It was portable, and it was fun to use.
Okay. And if you were to rate yourself from 1 to 10 again, with 1 being beginner and 10 being expert,
Expert.
what would you rate your familiarity with the iPad.